This conference will now be recorded. Unmuted.
Okay, here we are. Okay, so let me make sure my screen is visible and my audio is clear. That's awesome. I would like to welcome you all folks, working professionals, students, maybe college professors, so from wherever you're joining from. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. So this is Sharat Kumar from Psitron Technologies. Let's get started with our amazing session on AWS Machine Learning Specialty Certification course demo. So this demo session will be for 90 minutes. It's going to be fun with a lot of hands-ons, live demos that I'm going to show for myself here. And do you know, like before you folks joining the session, so we are using our artificial intelligence service in AWS, that is Amazon Polly, which is a text-to-speech service. So which we are using it to welcome you folks, right? Isn't it fun? Obviously, it's always fun to use AI services to do some amazing work, right? So it's going to be a lot of fun in this entire webinar. So as we are mentioning in that audio, I mean, as we are mentioning it and in that AI, so you stay till end of this demo session, so you can able to download 3 must-have machine learning ebooks for free. That's only if you stay till end of this webinar. And if you can able to stay till end of this webinar, again, that's not the only the surprise. You can also win $25 AWS credits completely for free. So yeah, few AWS credits that we are giving away. So stay till end of this webinar. This is going to be for 90 minutes, and we can have a lot of discussions over here. Okay, so let us get started. So what is this session is all about? That session is all about the AWS and machine learning, and it's about the certification course called AWS Machine Learning Specialty Certification course, which is making a lot of sound in a job market. We will validate everything today. Okay, it's going to be fun. Stay till end of this webinar. Okay, don't miss it. It's going to be awesome. So before we getting started, so there's a lot of participants are joining. So I would like to um, appreciate for giving your time for this particular webinar. I really appreciate, and I really appreciate your patience for this next upcoming 90 minutes. Okay, so happy Sunday for everyone. Obviously, like, yeah, so from wherever you're joining from, let's begin our session without wasting much of our time. Okay, so before that, I want to set up my mindset accordingly. I just want to see how many people are, so still people are joining. I just want to see like what kind of an audience that I have today, obviously, right? So in case if you are a student, you can just say I'm a student in a chat window. In case if you are a working professional, you can just say working professional in a chat window. So I can able to set up a mindset accordingly. So the way I can able to deliver this a demo session accordingly for you. Okay, that's awesome. So we are coming, like we are getting a lot of chat messages already. Thank you for your patience, and thanks for typing your messages in a chat. Obviously we are getting a working professional student. I'm a working professional student. That's awesome. Awesome university student. I really appreciate folks. Okay, that's really makes sense. Thank you so much. Yeah, there's a lot of commands still coming on. I'm a working professional. Sunny said okay, so Arvind said I'm a working professional. Avinash said professional. Awesome, that's good. Okay, so you know that anyway, you are obviously the familiar with the topic today about what is machine learning, right? So everyone talks about machine learning in the world, right? So machine learning, data science, data engineering, data analysis, people talk about a lot, right? Every company is working on AI, building a lot of things, making millions of money, becoming $1 billion industry. Lot of things are happening, right, in the industry. So we are going to talk about AWS and machine learning and this particular certification program. So, and we're going to talk about what is the value this adds for the let's say for the working professional students when you are getting into the career, right? So we're going to talk about a lot of things. So let us get started. So I just want to ask you one more question. So before we getting started with this session, I just want to know like how many people are already into ML and AI. Let's say if you are a beginner to ML and AI, you can just say beginner in the chat window. Otherwise, if you are experimenting with AI, let's say you can say intermediate, and in case if you're an expert, you can say I'm an expert. That's completely okay. So I can able to see like how many beginners we have, how many intermediates we have, how many experts we have over here. So I can able to understand, I can able to deliver the stuff accordingly for you. So I really appreciate again. So you know something, right? It's really makes sense. So we have a lot of different varieties of people who are joining. So let's let's make this particular webinar more productive, and obviously it's going to be a lot of fun obviously once after you leaving this webinar. So let us get started. As I mentioned, so stay till end of this webinar so you can download a 3 machine learning ebooks for free. I mean, the must have 3 machine learning ebooks for free, and you can also win $25 AWS credits. That's only if you stay till end of this webinar. Okay, so let me just quickly introduce myself. Obviously, we are doing a lot of webinars, sessions, courses, hands-on workshop, lot of things. And previously, maybe few people might know that. Anyway, so again, so my name is Sharat Kumar. I'm from we work for a company called Psitron Technologies. I'm a founder and CEO. So what exactly we do in a Psitron Technologies is we are a product-based company in the first hand. I mean, what we do is in a product-based company. So we help companies to, let's say, migrate to the cloud, to build machine learning models for them. So we work with many different industries. It may be manufacturing, e-commerce, or maybe retail industries. So, and that's a one part of a company. And we also do this workshops. We are also into training space. So personally, I have done more than, let's say, 45 plus webinars, 50 plus workshops and courses, and I have trained more than 5,000 working professionals like you, obviously, right? So let us get started with this today's session, the awesome session on AWS Machine Learning Specialty Certification demo. So why is this course is making a lot of sound in the job market? And if you complete this course, what value do you get, right? What kind of salary that you get? How is your lifestyle is going to be? A lot of things, obviously. Okay, so these are the highlights of this demo session. These are the three important things that we're going to take a look in this particular session. Impact of AI and ML. What's really happening in the world of AI and ML, right? As I'm talking about. So a lot of companies working on AI ML, millions of companies making a lot of revenue. Obviously, ML and AI jobs are the high paid jobs in the job market, according to the statistics, right? A lot of things we're going to discuss. And why AWS Machine Learning Specialty Certification course, and the job opportunities. How does the market look as of right now? Let's say maybe in next 5 years, how does the things look? Okay, so let us get started. Let us discuss on talking about impact of AI and ML. Okay, so still peoples are joining. I really appreciate peoples are still joining. That's good. So but let us consider one thing, right? So as per the a quick poll that we did, right? So still messages are coming. So we have a beginners here, we have a intermediate peoples here, and again you might be coming from a various different industries, right? So let's say you might be a working professional serving let's say a client which belongs to the banking sector. You might be a working professional serving a medical sector, e-commerce, agriculture, even a space, right? So or maybe education sector. So a lot of things, right? So one thing what we need to be aware about, so the use cases of ML and AI exist everywhere, right? You should be agreed with that. So let's say even starting from, let's say, agriculture industry to space industry, the use cases of ML and AI exist everywhere. That means it's directly proportional to the amount of job opportunities available in the job market, obviously, right? So let us start discussing about the use cases, then it will make a more sense about this particular webinar, okay, on a demo session. So use cases, as I'm talking about the use cases exist everywhere. Let's say if starting from an agriculture sector to space sector, everywhere, right? So let's say it may be NLP, natural language processing. It's a technique that we use in machine learning, basically, right? So especially for the use cases like sentiment analysis, text classification, chatbots. Obviously, who loves a chatbot? So chatbots are everywhere, right? If you go to e-commerce website, if you go to some customer support, if you go to let's say any blogs, everywhere there is a chatbots. And again, chatbots are ruling a digital marketing world like anything else, right? So it may be named entity recognitions. So let's talk about the sentiment analysis for a few seconds, then we will discuss about the another use case today. Okay, so obviously let's consider as part of a sentiment analysis, let's consider an e-commerce, the very famous e-commerce a site in our world. Obviously, we are talking about an Amazon.com or Amazon.in, so wherever you are coming from. So let's say, obviously, like you might be a customer of an Amazon. Obviously, you might have bought some few products from an Amazon. It may be electronic goods, blah blah blah, anything else, right? So let's say we have a practice each and every time we buy some goods from an Amazon. Obviously, then if you really like the product, let's say if you really like the product that is promised from that particular vendor, the features that particular product has been promised, right? So if you really liked it, so you're going to give a positive review for that particular product in an Amazon, isn't it, right? Obviously, we give a positive review for that particular product. So let's say in another phase, the particular vendor has supplied a damaged product to you via Amazon, right? Let's say all the promise that he has made on the features on that product has been not met. Let's say, what do? Obviously, we give a negative review, right? So we to the right and left we give negative reviews for that particular product, right? That's what it happens. So what do you think, this review that you have provided, what Amazon is doing with that data, right? So let's consider you are not the only customer for that Amazon, right? So you might, Amazon has a millions of customers, and they might have a millions of products already in a product on the Amazon, right? So millions of customers, they give provide a review on that particular products each and every day. So what do you think Amazon is doing with that data? Just imagine that's a huge pile of data that Amazon has already. So Amazon is taking all this data, let's say, and Amazon is doing a machine learning on top of it, let's say a sentiment analysis. So what exactly Amazon can able to gain a benefit out of it? So Amazon can able to tell whether this particular vendor is delivering a quality products or not, what kind of a relationship he has with the customers, whether the customers are really happy with this vendors or not, right? So yes, that's what exactly Amazon can do with that such a huge amount of data. So Amazon can able to use this data to bring in a quality vendors and make customers satisfy very easily, right? Isn't it fun? Obviously, what people can able to do with this data, right? So we can able to talk about the multiple use cases like this. Let's say we talk about a self-driving cars, obviously, right? So how, like, everyone wants a self-driving car, obviously we love having a self-driving car, right? So it may be we want a Tesla or maybe something like that, right? So like obviously self-driving cars are one of the good example, again, as part of a machine learning, right? It may be a robotic manipulation use cases. Let's say let's consider a retail market like customer behavior tracking. So what is this customer behavior tracking? Let's say after finishing this webinar, let's say everyone goes, let's say we go for a branded showroom where we buy, where we are, let's say trying to pick up some good collections that has arrived, right? Let's say, and you go for a dressing room, or maybe like you are trying some clothes and just watching, let's say, how exactly you look. Let's say after wearing the cloth, you come outside and you are standing in front of a mirror just experimenting how exactly you look. Let's say there are cameras which is monitoring your face, especially just checking, okay, whether you are really feeling happy when wearing the product or not. Let's consider a similar use cases in any industry, like where you can able to monitor a customer behavior tracking, something like this, right? Let's say the use cases in agriculture industry, like identifying the plant disease, the diseases on the leaf, right? The pests, blah blah blah, other things, right? So it may be use cases in automotive industries, like identifying the traffic, right? Especially using techniques like recognition and classification. That's what exactly Google does, isn't it, right? So every day if you go for every day if you go for your office in a huge traffic, especially let's take in India, in a Bangalore, always Google Maps helps you to reach to your office very soon, right? By using up by picking up the right route, obviously, to avoid the traffic. So a lot of innovations are happening, right? And let's say, like, one thing we need to realize and open your eyes, if you're closing your eyes, I'm just kidding, not just opening eyes, I'm talking about, so if you still believe machine learning, artificial intelligence, data science is the technology for future that is going to happen in next 5 years or 10 years. If you believe that, no, you're going to miss a huge piece of a cake. So machine learning or maybe artificial intelligence or a data science, which is actually shaping our lives each and every day right now. Today you are part of machine learning, you're using a machine learning services, you're using AI services. So let me give one more example, then we will proceed further. For example, our smartphones are a good example always, right? So for example, every latest available smartphones has a face recognition application running on your phone. For example, I'm talking about your selfie camera. Let's say you can able to unlock your phone just by using your face. You don't need a pattern or a pin number. Just by using a face, you can able to unlock the phone. So what's really happening? So there's a tiny machine learning model is recognizing your face and letting you enter the phone. So, and again, let me provide one more example. So we love interacting with Google. What I'm talking about, okay Google. Otherwise, I'm talking about Amazon Alexa, a device that is sold by Amazon. Or let's say if you are users of an Apple, you might have heard about Apple Siri, right? So what else those things are? Is that a pre-recorded voice sitting on the server and it is coming back to you? No, it's a deep learning technology. It's recognizing your voice and it's giving a response what you need. So these are the two good examples just to realize we are in a future of ML and AI. So it's a right opportunity, right? I mean, it's a time. You don't want to miss a piece of a cake. It's a huge piece of a cake, right? So what I'm trying to mention in this particular slide, the use case of ML and AI exist everywhere. Wherever you have access to data, let's say the use cases are exist everywhere, right? So it may be automobile industry, it may be a retail industry, it may be a banking sector. The investments each and every day is piling up and up. So there's a new new innovation every day, the new opportunity for you, a new job is creating every second. So that's what it's happening. So let's talk about how this course can able to help you to get started. Okay, folks, requesting like if any new join is joining the a meeting, like make sure you just mute the mic, obviously, yeah. So let us get started. Let's try to understand. So I believe like there are a lot of beginners, as we have run a quick poll. Let's try to understand what is exactly machine learning in a layman terms, then we will get started. It's going to be fun. Okay, so you can see this particular picture, which is completely unrelated what you think for this particular session, but let me explain you how it is related. So I will give you 10 seconds for you to observe this particular picture, then I'm going to ask you a few questions. Okay, so let's get started. Let's observe this particular picture, then we will get started. Awesome, that's good. Okay, so here is the questions. Okay, if you think this picture is completely unrelated, let me go in. I'm going to explain the machine learning by using this picture. Okay, so what do you think that you can able to find in this particular picture? What do you see in this picture? What do you see in this picture? So just tell me in a chat window what exactly you see. Like I'm getting a messages. I identify the dog. Hari said there's a dog, right? So Shaurabh said there's a dog park, right? So a lot of things are coming out right now. So thanks for your patience. So thanks for your messages in a chat window. So so yes, we can able to see a dogs here, right? I can see a one dog here. I can see another dog here. I can see a lot of grasses. I mean, I can see a trees and I can see a grass here. I can see a place where I can walk. I mean, the path, the bench where I can sit. I can see a men and I can see a women. Okay, that's not the question that I'm interested in asking you. What my question is very simple. How do you know this is a picture of a park? How exactly you can able to? How do you recognize this is a scenery of a park? How do you know this is a picture of a dog? How do you know this is a picture of a man? And how do you know this is a picture of a woman? And how do you differentiate a difference between a different breeds of dogs over here? How exactly you know this? So facial expressions, right? So that's what exactly Mohammed said. That's correct. But my question is, how do you know how exactly your brain process this data? Where does you got this knowledge, right? So let me try to explain this by using this particular picture, the growth cycle of a human being, right? So let's consider a newborn baby, like he or she might be less than 1 year old. So what do you think a newborn baby less than 1 year old, he or she knows that? So barely he or she can able to recognize his father or maybe mother. Apart from that, if you display the same picture, maybe a baby couldn't recognize this is a picture of a park, grass, blah blah blah, nothing he knows, right? The brain is completely empty, right? There's no data that is being fed. So let's consider this entire the growth cycle of a human being as a graph. If you see, let's say when a baby grows, like a baby grows to some babysitting school or some primary school, whatever it is, right? So let's say now the person starts learning things, right? So how do we learn? Just observe this. How do we learn the data? I'm not talking about the books that you read. We learn from many different ways, right? So we feed data for ourselves in many different ways, right? So we feed a data by observing things visually, right? We feed a data through audio by hearing things, by touching things. I mean the sense, right? So we feed our data in many different ways. We learn from our fathers, we learn from our mother, we learn from our books, we learn from our teachers, right? So a lot of things, right? So when the baby grows, let's say when he goes to high school, when he goes to high school, he will learn different stuff. Let's say he start learning mathematics, science, he will start learning machine learning, obviously. So a lot of things, right? So when what happens when the age grows is the more data that you consume, you become more experienced, you become more knowledgeable, right? So finally, let's say you become a senior person, and again, so finally we die, right? That's not the topic for today anyway. So what I'm trying to explain is the knowledge, I mean the exponentially grows up, right? So this is what exactly the thing, this is how exactly machine learning works. So all we are trying to do, so the same data that we consume, the same data that you consume, that we consume the data visually, we consume the data via audio, right? So in the same data that we are consuming, we are trying to teach this particular data to this dumb machines, then we are asking this machine to make some futuristic predictions. That's what exactly machine learning is. So let me try to put it in a very simpler way where you can able to understand the stuff. Let's say I have a file. So what kind of a file this can be? Let's say this is some kind of a CSV file, so or maybe Excel sheet, whatever you can able to imagine. Let's consider this is a CSV file where I have This is basically a tabular data, isn't it, right? So let's say I have some 30,000 data points. I mean, I have 30,000 rows, for example. So I have a 3 years of data, right? So I have collected this data for 3 years. Let's consider, okay? So what do you think this data is about? Let's consider any different use case where it can able to help us to understand how exactly machine learning works. So for example, let's consider electricity consumption data. So what do you mean by electricity consumption data? So let's say we pay electricity bills every month, obviously, right? So the bills of an electricity varies, depends on the seasons, right? In summer you pay very too much high electricity bills, and winter that depends on where you placed in a world, obviously, right? So let's consider I want to predict what will be my electricity bill forecast for the next 6 months. I want to I want to plan my electricity budget accordingly. Maybe your home, it may be your office, it can be any company that we are talking about, right, who want to do this. So all we are trying to do is we want to teach this data to this machines. Once this machine has learned all the data, so then I'm going to ask this machine to make some forecast. The forecasting says what is my bill in first month, what is going to be my bill in next second month, and what's going to be my bill in next third month. So this is what exactly machine is going to do. It's going to predict what's going to happen in the future, right? So it can be a tabular data that we want to teach. Otherwise, let's say we want to work on a image computer vision, for example, right? So instead of teaching this data, let's say I want to teach a visual data. Let's say I want to teach a picture of my cat, a picture of my dog. Let's say I have a use case where I want to teach all the different varieties of pet animals in the world, and once my machine has learned all the data, so then I'm going to ask my machine to predict what is the given picture has. For example, let's say I put up a camera over here. Let's say I have a camera, and I have in front of a camera I have a cat, picture of a cat. So then I ask my machine to predict what exactly you have in front of your camera. So my machine is going to tell it's a cat, it's a dog, it's a person, right? That's what exactly computer vision is. That's what exactly machine learning is. So the thing is, we take a data, we teach a data to that machine, so then we ask that machine to make a futuristic predictions. Isn't it very simple, right? Obviously, that's what exactly machine learning is. But more to come inside. Obviously, that's a very simplest way of understanding. But what is technical definition for machine learning? So machine learning is a study of an algorithm and a mathematical model that computer system uses to progressively improve their performance on a specific task. It looks complex, right? It's very simple. So the things are very simple. Let me put it in this way. So machine learning is all about teaching a complex mathematical models to your machine. So once your particular machine understands the complex mathematical models, we ask that machine to make some futuristic predictions. Do you have what do you find in that particular picture? Is it a cat? Is it a dog? So we ask that machine to predict, right? So we ask the machine to make a forecasting. So here comes a typical workflow of any machine learning model that you build and you want to deploy it in a production ready environment. So so here comes the deal. So every data scientist, let's say I have seen a lot of intermediate peoples are there. There are a few experts also joining the session. So obviously, in case if you're a data scientist, if you're a machine learning engineer, you know how to build a model, right? But what about how to deploy a model in a production ready environment? So how do you maintain your model after deploying in your production ready environment? I'm talking about something called MLOps, right? How do you deploy a model, and how do you monitor your model, and how do you retrain your model again? How do you redeploy your model again, right? So what are the pipelines that you need to build, right? So this is the typical workflow of any machine learning model life cycle. So where do we start, right? Where do we start? Obviously we start from a data, right? We need a data to get started. So a data comes from many different ways, right? You may download a real-time data that is available in the internet, or maybe you might have a data that is coming from your business use case, obviously, right? Your company might have a data, right? So data can be depends on your use case. Like let's say if you're working on a computer vision, so you might have images, like say a JPEG, right? Otherwise, let's say your data might come from a CSV file, or maybe your data might come from a JSON file and text file, but a lot of different varieties are there still, right? So let's say once we have a data ready, what do we do? Obviously, once we have a data ready, we do something called data preparation. What do you mean by data preparation? It's very simple things. We go to kitchen, we carry some spices like masala, we carry some salt, we start preparing it. Right? I'm just kidding. So it's similar to that. It's similar to cooking. So what is data preparation? So let's say when it comes to a real-time data that is coming from your business use case, so your data will come with a lot of garbages. I mean, it will have a lot of outliers in a technical terms, a lot of missing values, missing data. So what do you mean by missing values, missing data. Let me provide you a good example. So let's say once after completing this webinar, I'm going to share a feedback form for everyone to fill up, and you're going to let's say in that particular feedback form I have asked few couple of questions. So regarding this particular webinar, let's say I want everyone to fill up that. So then once I have the data, I'm going to train a machine learning model just to predict how many people really like my webinar, right? So this is the thing that I want to build. But the problem is not every participant is going to fill up all the questions. Maybe few participants, they may not know the answer to that particular question, or few people might forget to fill up that, right? So we will be having a problems with that. That's an example for missing values, right? So your machine need a quality data, not a missing data, not a garbage data. So what you need to make sure in a data preparation, you need to make sure you clean up your data, you provide a quality data. It's a complete data what we need, right? So once we have our data ready, so then we use some kind of an IDEs. What is IDEs? The place where we write a code, obviously, right? So what kind of a code? It may be any code that you like. Maybe if you use Python, you use R, JavaScript, C++, anything that depends on your particular use case. Let's say we use an IDE called Visual Studio Code, for example. Otherwise, let's say we use a very famous IDE, Jupyter Notebooks, obviously, which is powered by Anaconda. So Jupyter Notebooks is again a web-based IDE where you just by a inside a web browser itself, you can write a code in Python or maybe any other different languages. So once we have our code setup ready, so the code setup is for training a machine learning model. So once your code setup is ready, then we pick up a particular CPU. Obviously, you need a CPU or GPU to train a machine, right? I mean, to train a data to your machine. So let's say once we pick up a particular instance, so then we start training a machine. And once your machine is trained, it produces a product called model. So once it has produced a model, so then we do testing. So what is this testing? So we pass some testing data basically to test whether this model is making a valuable predictions or not. I mean, let's say we trained our electricity data and we pass some test data just to check, okay, whether this machine is going to make some proper predictions, proper forecasting or not. So let's say once you're really satisfied with that results, right? It's similar to how you provide a test for a school kid. Once your school kid has passed that particular test, obviously you will be going to the next grade in the school, right? It's similar to that. So let's say once your machine has given a proper results, then we will go and deploy that model in a production ready environment. So where do we deploy? Obviously in a cloud. It may be AWS, it may be Google Cloud, it may be Azure, it can be anything. It depends on a use case. So let's say once we deploy a model in a cloud, so once after the deployment is done, so then we build a front end applications or maybe like a Android websites and maybe a batch prediction that you want to do. So we build that applications where your customers, where your users can able to come and interact with that. So what do you mean by deployment? It's similar to how you host your website. Let's say you want to host your website on your name, for example. So what do you need? You need a server, you need a hosting space, you need a domain, right? Something like that. So it's similar to that. Hosting of a model is similar to that. We need a server where we can host it, right? So then we need other couple of tools to maintain the pipeline, right? So let's say, for example, in AWS we use tools called Amazon SageMaker to deploy a model, right? So once after you deploy a model, this is where your users comes into the picture. Your users comes and interact with your model. Here your user again inputs a lot of data. So again we collect this data once again, and again we use this data to retrain your machine learning model. So this cycle continuously, it's keep on running. Again we retrain your machine learning model, again we deploy. So let's say initially we had model version 1, then we have model version 2, model version 3, it goes on, right? So that's it. And obviously we talked about writing a code, right? So what kind of a programming language that we can get started? Obviously, like there are various different programming languages that we can get started with. Let's say you can able to use Python, which is obviously like used in many workloads in the real time, or maybe you can use R, JavaScript, or C++ even, that is possible. There are more libraries, the more support to many different languages are coming into the picture. So obviously we can get started with the Python for getting started, right? So let's say we are talking about a course called AWS Machine Learning Specialty. So why it is called as a specialty? For a reason, it's a specialist level certification program which is available in a job market. So in order to become a specialist, okay, in a machine learning, so what are the things you need to know? So not just about the data, you need to understand what is statistics and probability. You need to understand your data, what kind of a data that you have. Do you have, let's say, something called outliers? I mean, I'm talking about the garbages. So there are a couple of tools that you need to understand in order to eliminate that couple of garbages in your data. So then obviously data engineering. So we apply some engineering on that particular data, let's say for cleaning your data, so to organize your data in a better form, right? So or maybe using a data visualization tools, especially to understand how your data is organized. For example, let's say we can able to use data visualization tools like box plots and whisker plots, basically to find if there is any let's say garbages in that particular data, especially I'm talking about outliers in the data. So then we can able to use, let's say, something called histograms, basically to understand how your data is distributed. And we can use something called standard deviation and mean to in order to identify something called outliers, right? So and again, let's say you want to analyze a time series data. What kind of a graph that you use? Do you use a pie chart, or do you use a box chart, or do you use line graph? Obviously line graph, right? So in order to analyze your time series data, so it's really important to understand what kind of a graph that you need to use at a what kind of a situation. So why human beings are using graphs, visualizations? Because human beings are good visual thinkers. So obviously, let's say I have a 30,000 data points in that particular CSV file that I'm talking about. So can you able to analyze all this data without using any visualization tools? I want you to do only scroll down to all these 30,000 columns and try to find where is a missing value and where is a garbage. I mean, I'm talking about a outlier in your data. Can you able to do that without using visualization tools? No, it's highly impossible and it's highly tedious to do that, right? So that's why you need to understand what is data visualization is. And obviously, when it comes to data science, machine learning, artificial intelligence, we talk about something called deep learning here, right? Obviously, when the concept comes to deep learning, you might have seen these pictures in the internet, which looks like a circles here, right? So what is this especially? What does this circles represents, right? So let's now forget about a machine learning for a minute. Let's think about how our human brain works, how our human brain works, right? So we know everyone has a brain, right? We don't have a doubt on that. I'm just kidding. So it's basically neural networks. Otherwise, artificial neural networks is a concept derived from biological inspiration of our human brain, how exactly our brain works, right? So obviously, I'm not going to take a biology class. Don't worry, because I am not a biology teacher. So, so let's understand. So we have something called neurons in our brain, which is responsible for carrying electrical signal from one part of a brain to another part of a brain. So especially we'll talk about something called cerebral cortex, otherwise cerebral cortex in your human brain. So let's say where a couple of neurons, I mean, I'm talking about the billions of neurons, not a couple of neurons over here, so which are connected to each other, which is using a chemical component called axons. For example, let's say this circle is a one neuron, this circle is another neuron. They are connected to each other and they form a network of neurons where billions of neurons comes into the picture. So let's say this particular neuron transfers an electrical signal to this neuron. Once this neuron has enough electrical signal, this transfers this electrical signal to upcoming neuron in a network. So that's how it forms a network basically. So this is how exactly artificial neural network works. We will talk about that one more in upcoming slides. And so obviously, whenever you train a machine, right? Whenever you train a machine with your data, it produces a product called a model. And let's say it depends whether you use CPU or whether you use GPU, right? So but the situation is completely different when you use GPU. I'm talking about graphical processing units. So where do we use GPUs in a first hand? Obviously, right? So GPUs are used especially for the very compute intensive jobs. Let's say we are working on a computer vision. For example, let's say you want to predict who is standing in front of a camera, whether it's whether it's an apple, whether it's a mango, it's a human being, it's a dog, it's a cat, whatever it is, right? So basically, again, it's an inspiration from biology. It's from a human eyes. So cortical columns, which is a part which is presented in a human eye. So again, I'm not a biology teacher here. So cortical columns is again a specific part in a human eye. So where again there are a neurons, for a reason why it is called as a cortical columns. They are organized columns like this. So there are millions of columns over here. Let's say per column you might expect, let's say, hundreds of neurons, and similarly there are 100 million neurons together stacked each other parallelly. So that's why it does something called parallel computing, what people used to call. So again, this is a similar concept how your GPUs works. Our GPUs does parallel computing. They are good for parallel computing. So that's how GPUs are used in our system. But now let us try to understand how our deep neural networks works in deep learning. So this is the best example for deep neural networks. So the idea is very simple, okay? So you provide an input over here and you get an output over here. That's it, as simple as that. Isn't it fun? Right? So let's consider a use case here. Let's say I'm talking about a data of electricity. I mean, let's say I have collected electricity data of my home. How much electricity data does my washing machine, water geyser, maybe any other electronic appliances that consumes, right? Let's say I collect various features from it. Let's say I collect a current, I collect a voltage. Let's say I collect other features like RMSC. So other features, let's say I collect other details, then I have some past bills, etc. Let's say I collect all these features. Let's say I can go with the two features which can able to help me to predict what is my electricity bill forecast. Let's say I input a current and I voltage values over here, then finally I receive an output, maybe a forecasting values that I need, right? So then I have something called hidden layers in a between, which is again used for processing at different values. So here I have input neurons, which is completely depends on total number of inputs that you're going to provide. Let's say from this available three features, feature number one, feature number two, feature number three, feature number four. Let's say I decide to go with only these two features, then I'm going to have just only two input neurons, right? And finally, I receive an output at the output layer. So for example, here we use something called a softmax layer, softmax activation function, otherwise it is called, so which is an output layer which is going to produce the results as a probabilities, obviously, right? So this is the best example how deep neural network works. So we provide an input to input neurons, then we receive output at output layer. And we have hidden layers which process the information in many different patterns. And let's try to conclude a one different confusion that we might have in case if you're a beginner. So what is this artificial intelligence? What is this machine learning? Or what is this deep learning? So beginners usually get confused. Okay, are these three things are three different technologies? It's not exactly, they are not exactly three different technologies. But let's say, for example, artificial intelligence, what is this? Artificial intelligence is the final end product that you see. For example, let's consider Amazon Alexa, a voice assistant device that is sold from Amazon that is called artificial intelligence device. So artificial intelligence is basically a final end product. Okay, so what is ML then? ML is a subset of AI. Without ML, there is no AI. And again, what is this DL? I'm talking about deep learning is again a subset of machine learning, right? Without without deep learning, there is no machine learning over there, right? So those are wind up, they are wired to each other to come up with a one final product that is artificial intelligence. That's how the things work. So let's consider when it comes to machine learning, there are three different types. One is called supervised learning technique, unsupervised learning technique, and reinforcement learning technique. What are these things? What is this supervised, unsupervised, and reinforcement? Right? If it is getting confused, it's very simple things. So this is the way that machine learns the data. So machine has some requirements. So you need this requirements are in these three types: supervised, unsupervised, and reinforcement. So let me put it in a very simplest terms where you can able to understand in a much more clear way, right? So what is the supervised learning technique? So let me try to explain it in a very simple layman terms here. Let's say I have a three different country coins. Let's say I have Indian rupee coin, I have a UAE coin, then I have a Liberty coin. So let's say Indian rupee coin weighs 5 grams. Let's say UAE coin weighs 2 grams. Let's say Liberty coin weighs 4 grams. So let's say a weight of a coin can be a feature and currency of a coin can be a label. Okay, so let's say once you have trained a machine learning model, if a coin is if it's a 5 gram, that's a prediction. Let's say then the predicted coin will be a 1 rupee coin. So the idea is very simple. A supervised learning technique is a technique where you have both features and labels in your data set, right? So and then we have unsupervised learning technique. So unsupervised learning technique is a learning technique with no label data. You don't have label data at all. Label data are something like a target values. So you don't have a label values at all. So let me put it in a best example, a cricket, for example. So here we have a cricket data, so where we have grouped into two clusters. So in x-axis it represents wicket, in y-axis it represents runs, right? So based on total number of wickets, and I can able to predict who is that bowler is, and total number of let's say runs, I can able to predict a batsman. So the topic is very simple. We cluster a data into groups, and a particular data point where you want to make a prediction, that particular data point belongs to any nearby cluster center point. So that is the particular data point belongs to that particular cluster. So it can be any groups that you want to make. Let's say you take an electronic products, for example, electronic gadgets that you can able to group accordingly. Electronic gadgets that depends on medical use. Electronic gadgets that are used for, let's say, for your own daily use, right? So you can able to cluster the groups accordingly, right? And then we have something called a reinforcement learning technique. Again, it's a fun. So let's say we have a machine again. So we train our machine with various different types of data. Let's say I want to predict all the different varieties of pet animals that we might have. Let's say I train my machine. So now I'm making a prediction by passing a picture of a cat. I expect the machine to predict it's a cat. But my machine makes a wrong prediction saying it's a dog. So then I provide a negative feedback to this machine. So then your machine is going to learn from that negative feedback. So then again, if I test that machine with a cat, it's going to predict it's a cat. So reinforcement learning is a technique which learns based on rewards. If it learns something really good, I give a reward. Otherwise, if it made some mistakes, I give a negative feedback to that machine. So this is how the three different ways your machine expect it to learn the data. So again, if we are talking about these three different learning techniques, supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforcement learning techniques, so there are different varieties of use cases that comes into the picture that depends on your data, right? So for example, it may be a classification related use cases where you want to classify between two things. It may be a binary classification, a multi-class classification, right? So fraud detection use cases, email spam detection, image classification, as I'm talking about, differentiating between an apple and orange, right? Men and women, right? So it may be a regression related use cases. When it comes to unsupervised learning technique, we can talk about the use cases like text mining, face recognition. Again, image recognition can be a part of it. So clustering use case, we already talked about a cricket as an example. It may be a city planning use cases. So when it comes to reinforcement learning technique, it is mostly used on, let's say, robotics, medical use cases. Let's say self-driving cars, for example, they are the best use case for reinforcement learning technique, right? So there are multiple varieties of use cases that comes into the picture. But let's say, so when you want to train a machine learning model, we usually come up with the 7 steps that we want to do when it starts from our data. Let's say first we do something called gathering a data. You get a data from your business, you get a data from internet, right? So then we do data preparation. So once we have done a data preparation, then we choose a model. So then we train a machine with that particular data that we have collected. So then we do evaluating your model. Basically, let's say once your machine learning model is trained, we test your model with the testing data that we might have. So once you're satisfied that results are, if you're not satisfied with the results, then we do something called hyperparameter tuning. It's similar to how we tune our radio, make sure to get a proper frequency, I mean proper audio, right? So we make sure we tune our machine learning models until we get the expected results. So then obviously if your model is ready, then we can able to make a predictions, and then we deploy a model to a production ready environment. So various different kinds of algorithms that you can able to use. It may be regression use cases, classification use cases, or maybe clustering use cases, right? So, and again, it may be in algorithms, it may be like a frameworks, like let's say a TensorFlow, Keras, PyTorch. Those are the ML frameworks. Those are mostly an open source framework that you can pick from an internet that you can able to use to get started with a machine learning very easily. So now let us talk about, we understand some basics about ML and AI. What are the things you need to have, right? So now it's very important slide where you need to really focus on. So we understand what is exactly machine learning is. We understand what is exactly data science is. We understand what is AI is. We understand how the data, what are the steps that we cover. But let's try to understand what's really happening in a industry. So why AWS especially playing a very important role over here? So why AWS Machine Learning Specialty certification course? So here there are a lot of beginners, there are intermediate people, there are even experts. So machine learning, creating a model and getting a predictions from it, it just not happens in a overnight. So there are many stakeholders. Let's say tomorrow everyone wants to work in a company where we want to work in a machine learning projects tomorrow. That's what the goal is, right? Getting a fancy job and getting a good paid job. Obviously machine learning jobs are high paid jobs in a job market. So are you the only person? Just ask this question: are you the only person where you're going to start from preparing your data, cleaning your data, and training a machine learning model, and deploying a machine learning model in a production ready environment, and again monitoring your model, again monitoring for drifts in your model, and again retraining your model, again redeploying your model? Are you the only person who's going to do that? No, it's not going to work like that. So there are many stakeholders in this particular area. Let's say for example, we have someone called data engineer, right? We have someone called data engineer. So who is this data engineer? So let's say a data engineer is someone who takes a data from your business use case, or maybe he set up a pipeline to bring in a data. So let's say for example, you're working on a digital marketing campaign where a data engineer builds a pipeline to collect the data and organize the data in some kind of a data lake, right? So that person makes sure the data is clean enough, okay, and he removes all the outliers in that data if possible, if it is doable from his side. So basically a data engineer sets up a pipeline. So once the data is ready, okay, so he provides the data to a data scientist. So data scientist, so he provides the data to this data scientist, and now a data scientist will take a decision. So what kind of an algorithm do I going to use? Am I going to use let's say classification? Am I going to use regression? Am I going to use any ML frameworks like TensorFlow? Am I going to train my model on PyTorch? Any different kinds of an algorithm, right? So once this particular data scientist has taken a decision, he has trained a model, so now a data scientist will produce a product called a model. So now a data scientist has produced a model. So now this data scientist handles this particular model to a machine learning engineer. So this machine learning engineer is going to deploy this particular model. Otherwise, he's going to host this model in a production ready environment. So now what is machine learning engineer is going to do apart from deploying? He is going to take care of monitoring this model and take caring if there is any drift in your model. And in case if there is any drift, he will make a decisions accordingly, whether do we need to retrain this model again, whether we need to do any other changes in the model. So let's say again this communication goes back to data engineer. Let's say if machine learning engineer sends a trigger saying that we need to retrain a model, again data engineer will again provide a quality data. Again our data scientist will retrain a model, and he will create a model version number 2, and again he will deploy it. So why am I explaining this? So you need to understand, so there are many different stakeholders: a data engineer, a data scientist, an ML engineer. So why this particular certification makes a lot of sound in a job market? It's exactly this. So you don't believe, once after completing this particular certification program, you can be part of more than 100 plus roles. So consider a story. Consider this particular course as a grocery store. Let's say you're going for a grocery store and you pick what exactly you want, right? Let's say you want some groceries for cooking. You need some other kind of a groceries that you want for some other use case, right?
Sir,
For you,
certificate
especially for a
you
cooking.
send me.
So folks, I will open a session for Q&A. I would like
Certificate you send
to
me.
hear from everyone. Okay, so don't unmute your mic. So I will open the session for Q&A. Okay, everyone can talk.
Video
I will
is
spend
not
unlimited of
working.
time with you. Okay. Okay, so what I'm trying to explain here is, consider this particular course as a grocery store. So you can, if you want to if you want to be a data engineer, this particular this particular course provides an opportunity for you. Let's say you want to become a data scientist, this particular course provides an opportunity for you. Otherwise, you want to become an ML engineer, this course provides an opportunity for you. So let me put it in a right way, how this course able to help you to get started. So AWS, let's talk about an AWS first of all. Okay, so AWS, which is an Amazon Web Services, there are different kinds of cloud platforms in the world. Obviously we have Google, we have Microsoft, we have IBM, a lot of different
Send
players.
me, sir.
So let us come to a quick conclusion over here. If you see, like Amazon holds almost a 33% of a cloud industry. I mean, just imagine it leads an industry with $180 billion. It's a mega structure. It's a mega industry. So that means you have a it is directly professional to amount of job opportunities that are available in a world. So one more thing that you need to understand. So machine learning is happening in every different size of a companies. It may be a startup to a big MNC. So here you can see this particular slide itself, it's not enough for an Amazon to publish the different customers who use Amazon for machine learning. So you name the company. It may be, let's say it can be, let's say an Intel, it can be, let's say a Tinder, it can be Toyota, it can be Accenture, you name the company. It can be a Slack, lot of different companies. So you don't believe like more than 1.5 million companies they use Amazon just for machine learning itself. So the amount of services they use inside, it depends, it's really vast. So as I'm talking about, keep three things in a mind: data engineering, data scientist, and a machine learning engineer. So this particular course is a grocery store, as I'm talking about. So these are the tools that we will be focusing on as part of a data engineering in AWS. So do you want to become a data engineer? So let's say you want to create a data lake by using Amazon S3. Or let's say one more possibility. Let's say when it comes to creating a model, let's say your data scientist will ask, okay, so I'm going to pick this particular algorithm. This particular algorithm expects input data as a JSON files. Okay, but let's say a data engineer who is a person who gets a data as a CSV file. So now you have a situation where you want to convert your CSV files into JSON files. So you need to do something called ETL. You can use AWS Glue for that. Let's say, otherwise, let's say you have a streaming data that is coming. Let's say you're working on a digital marketing company where you have a stream of data, a streaming data that is coming into the picture. So you might need to use a streaming service called Amazon Kinesis, right? You want to do some analysis on Athena. Let's say you want to do some batch transformations by using AWS Batch. So are different varieties of databases that you need to know in order to handle a data. Let's say you want to use a Redshift again for data warehousing, right? So when it comes to data analysis, obviously, like visualizing a data and getting insights from that particular data is really important. So what kind of a tool that we're going to learn in this particular certification program, which is mandate for any data analysis? You don't believe like you can use a QuickSight, a very powerful visualization tool, which is similar to Power BI, without writing any line of a code. A data analyst can able to get a complete insight on this data. He can able to find outliers on this data by simply uploading a data to QuickSight. So otherwise, you need to know container services in AWS like ECR, Elastic Container Registry, or Kubernetes on AWS, or maybe a big data services on AWS, like how can I use Hadoop? How can I use a Spark streaming on AWS by using Elastic MapReduce in AWS? So everything comes under a data over here, right? Otherwise, let's say IoT services, when it comes to let's say edge computing. Let's say I have a use case where I want to deploy my model, where your customer want to deploy a model instead of a cloud. He want to deploy his model on his premises, on a tiny edge devices, right? So, and once we are done with data engineering, data analysis, this is where we going to start AWS ML stack. This is going to be really beautiful. You can see this is the complete stack of what AWS offers in terms of ML and AI. So, so the beauty is, so here we have categorized into like a three things: AI services. What is AI again? It's a final end product, right? So there are a lot of AI services, and we have a ML service, and we have ML frameworks and infrastructures. So AWS right now got, there are a lot of AI services, but we didn't include any every AI services here, but we have got it max over here. Let's say, for example, you want to build a computer vision based services. Let's say you want to build a face recognition application, a object detection, a scene detection application, a face comparison application, for example. Anything that you want to build with computer vision, you can go with Amazon Recognition. Otherwise, do you have a speech related services? If you don't, if you see, like if you are a person who joins our session very early, let's say if you have signed up around 7 p.m. IST, you might have seen an audio voice which is welcoming you folks to the session, right? It's an Amazon Poly, which is a text to speech service. So you have a use cases on a text. Let's say you're working for a medical sector, you're working for a government where you have a lot of truckloads of document that has to be converted into a physical document that has to be converted into digital document. You can use something called Amazon Text Fact. So we have a search services, a chatbot services that I'm talking about, Amazon Lex. So I'm going to provide a live demo on this Amazon Lex, Amazon recognition, if you only stay till end of this webinar. So as I'm talking about, if you stay till end of this webinar, you can able to download 3 machine learning ebooks, the must have machine learning ebooks for free, and you can also win $25 AWS credits if you only stay till end of this webinar. Okay, so yeah, so we are talking about Amazon Lex, which is a complete customizable chatbot service. You know that chatbots are ruling the world. So anywhere if you go, like, there are chatbots. So there is no human beings sitting in front of you and chatting with you. There is a chatbot which literally answering your questions. So personalization services and forecasting services. Let's say you have a time series data that you want to forecast and you want to understand, you want to forecast what's going to happen in next 6 months, right? So here is the exact service that you need to use, right? So for example, we are talking about the electricity bill forecasting service. Let's say you want to you just get this data inside Amazon forecast without writing any line of a code today. You can able to generate your forecast. Let's say a fraud detection service. Let's say you are working for a banking sector. Let's say you want to work for a cyber security. You want to identify online transaction frauds, debit card frauds. Here is a service, Amazon Fraud Detector. So if you're a developer looking for services related to AI and ML, so you can use Amazon Code Group or Contact Lens in terms of, let's say, a customer service platforms. And very importantly, I'm talking about ML services, a machine learning service, Amazon SageMaker. So this is where every data scientist, machine learning engineer, data engineer has to focus on. So Amazon SageMaker is a service where you can literally develop everything from a scratch. So you don't believe every AI service could be developed from this SageMaker itself. So SageMaker provides a SageMaker IDE, which again runs on a Jupyter notebooks. So you can able to SageMaker just got more than 16 plus built-in algorithms. So it can be any different kind of a use case. Let's say you want to do forecasting, you want to do NLP, you want to do computer vision, right? So or you want to work on a fraud detection use cases. Amazon has got literally all these different kind of algorithms inside. Otherwise, if you like to use your own algorithm, you can bring in your own algorithm inside. Otherwise, let's say you want to use ML frameworks like TensorFlow, Apache MXNet, PyTorch, Gluon CV, maybe scikit-learning, you can bring any ML frameworks inside. So by using Amazon SageMaker, you can able to build, train, and deploy. B for build, building entire machine learning environment, training your machine learning model, and D for deployment. So I'm talking about the model training and tuning and model hosting in a real time. So, and again, Amazon ML services provides a deep learning AMIs and containers, a dedicated service that is already ready configured to get started with the deep learning. So Amazon has got high-end GPUs and CPUs to get started with the machine learning. So elastic inferences for deployment, alternative for GPUs, Inferentia and FPGAs. So you can see there's a huge stack of service that is waiting for you to learn and explore and add a value to your clients. So what is the challenges that we usually face in building a machine learning model? These are the common challenges that we always face, right? Let's say starting from labeling your data, that's the biggest problem, right? So then collecting and preparing your data. So then picking up a right algorithm that we need, right? So and training a machine learning model need high intensive CPUs and GPUs, and having a future store, so storing your features and tuning parameters and checking the biases, or maybe you want to deploy it in a production. What happens after deploying it in a production? Is that your job is end after deploying it in a production? No, the job starts from there. So you want to monitor your model, and you need to identify if there is any drift, and you need to give a suggestion whether the model has to be retrained or not. You need to maintain the CI/CD pipeline, right? I'm talking about the MLOps and other things. So these challenges can be overcome through Amazon SageMaker that I'm talking about. So Amazon SageMaker is a fully managed service where it is built for developers like us, data scientists like us, where we want to build, train and deploy your machine learning models in a production ready environment. So with using Amazon SageMaker, you can able to overcome all these problems by SageMaker built-in IDE. So labeling data is made very easier, and again, picking up an algorithm by using 16 plus inbuilt algorithms and different ML frameworks that you can able to bring in inside. Training a model and deploying a model is made very easier by implementing SageMaker pipelines, the inbuilt ML ops inside SageMaker, and implementing CI/CD pipeline with other tools in SageMaker is made easier today. So SageMaker looks something like this. I would like to show you the real demo in a console right now. So this is the typical workflow. If you imagine like the slide that I displayed previously when we are getting started with the session, again, a same particular workflow is simplified something like this. So again, so where do we start? So obviously we start from collecting a data, right? A data comes from a business use case, right? So once the data is there, we start cleaning our data, then we prepare our data. So once the data is prepared, this is where we train a model, and then finally we test a model. If you're satisfied with your results, you deploy a model in a production ready environment. So once you deploy, this is where your users comes into the picture. He inputs a lot of data, right, to test your model, and you collect this data again, right, and you monitor this model continuously. Again, by using the data that you collected, again you can able to fetch, clean, prepare, and retrain a model and redeploy your model. So this is how your complete workflow cycle can be maintained when it comes to machine learning. So SageMaker powers many different use cases. It may be predictive maintenance use cases in manufacturing industries. It may be demand forecasting use cases, fraud detection use cases. It may be financial services use cases like credit card predictions, extracting, analyzing your documents. It may be a medical use cases, legal documents that you want to analyze, a computer vision, a full-fledged computer vision services, or maybe let's say autonomous driving use cases, or maybe recommendation use cases. Amazon has got dedicated recommendation algorithms that you can able to get started. You won't believe. So customer churn predictions, like especially used in retail, education, and software and internet services, especially. Let us try to provide one good example, then we will jump into the live demo today. So Amazon machine learning innovation in a scale. So a good example is Amazon itself. You can able to see this, like more than like 4,000 products per minute is being processed and sold in Amazon, and more than 1.6 packages delivered each and every day. So such high level of innovation is not possible without such a high level of technology. I'm talking about ML and AI. And again, if you see billions of Amazon Alexa interactions each and every week, and think about what's happening right now in a prime A delivery that is already in a place today, right? So this is the built-in algorithms that I'm talking about, what Amazon has supported, which can be categorized for many different use cases. Amazon has got bunch of algorithms for classification use cases, for working with the text recognition, or let's say if you have a use cases on computer vision, recommendation systems, anomaly detection, sequence translation use cases, topic modeling use cases, forecasting, clustering, and feature predictions. So in this particular course, we're going to explore each and every algorithm, and we're going to build a real-time projects on top of it. So, and again, you can bring in many different kinds of machine learning frameworks. If you're not interested in, let's say, built-in algorithms, do you like to use TensorFlow on Amazon SageMaker? Bring it, possible. You want to use MXNet, Keras, PyTorch, you can bring many different kinds of ML algorithms into SageMaker. Saying this, let us have a quick discussion on job opportunities that are available in machine learning, especially in AWS machine learning. Then we will jump into awesome demos. Okay, so what I want to discuss very importantly, specifically on job opportunities here, the three things that I mentioned already. So let's say you can be a data engineer, you can be a data scientist, you can be an ML engineer here. So, but the problem is there are people who only work for data engineer, but they don't know what is data science much efficiently, and ML ops, machine learning engineer that I'm talking about. So as I'm talking about, just imagine this particular course as a grocery store. So once you learn, you become a grocery store, and you can pick what exactly you need. Let's say you want to work for a data engineer, you can work as a data engineer. You want to work as a data scientist, you can work as a data scientist. And we know that Everyone talks about ML and AI. Obviously, I don't want to repeat it much more times. So machine learning jobs are the high paid jobs in the job market. So there are multiple roles that are available. So let's say you can work for more than 100 plus roles that just job industry holds right now. Obviously, this data which we got from itjobworks.co.uk, you can just go and check it out. This clearly explains where we are heading for the next 10 years or maybe next 20 years that you're talking about. So the trend will keeps on going up. So the trend usually you can see it started picking up in 2009 and its trends keep on going up. So that means there are a lot of job opportunities. Each and every industry has a different kind of use cases. So the jobs, if you just Google it, it's a one Google search away. There are different roles are available for you to get started and check it out the pay scales that you can able to get per year, right? You may be based out of Mumbai, you might be based out of Karnataka, let's say Bangalore, right? You may be based out of UK. The use case and the industries exist in many different countries, obviously. So LinkedIn says right now, if you Google it, there are 1,000 plus jobs that are available right away. So you can able to apply it. You may be a fresher. That's completely okay. You can become a junior data scientist. You can be a junior data engineer. There are different varieties of jobs that is available for you to get started. So Naukri says, okay, right now if you Google it, there are more than 3,000 plus jobs. So let us have a quick job analysis. That is something that we uniquely want to do it here. So let's say once you complete this course, as a grocery store, you pick what you need. Let's say you want to become a data engineer. As I'm talking about, you need to be aware about few tools like Hadoop, Kafka, Python, AWS services, especially let's say EC2, EMR, Redshift, and we talked about Glue, data pipelines, data step functions, all the stuff, right? So everything that you need as part of data engineering, S3, Kinesis, Hadoop systems, all the stuff. Let's say there is a company that is hiring for Amazon SageMaker that I'm talking about, Mindtree. So they need some few hands-on experiences on ML and DL data pipelines and building deploying a model and maintaining those pipelines, CI/CD that I'm talking about. So experience in Amazon SageMaker, having hands-on experiences, especially on various different kinds of models like RNN, ResNet, ResNet 50, ResNet 18, you name it, and having experience on other AI services. You just check it out. You won't believe there are AI service. There are companies who just hire for AI services only. I'm talking about Amazon Recognition, for example. There are companies who just hire for AI services. You need a hands-on experience on recognition. You need a hands-on experience on Lex, right? So just check it out. So Wipro, Hyderabad, Telangana is just looking for a person who is interested in, who has experience in Amazon SageMaker, the hands-on experience, hyperparameter tuning, batch transformation, and just check it out. So Lambda, experience in API gateway, AI and ML services, right? And here comes a built-in algorithms, built-in models that I'm talking about, the particular slide that I showed you. So AWS AI services, the entire AI services that I'm talking about. So this particular AI services. So, and one more wonderful thing is, in order to learn this particular AI services, you don't need any programming experience so much. You don't want to be a big expert to learn that. It's very simple to learn. Saying that, now let us have a discussion. This is the data that we got from a Glassdoor. Glassdoor says an average salary for a machine learning engineer in India, it starts from 1,500K, that is 15 lakhs per annum. And just check it out, the maximum salary, it's a 7,000K per annum. And check it out, the minimum salary. If you just start today, and the minimum salary for you is going to start from 500K per annum, right? It corresponds to this particular hiring companies. Saying this, why don't we get started with AWS? Let us taste AI today. I'm going to show you some few demos, then we will talk about more about this course, okay? Let us get started. Obviously, you have checked it out. In case if you have joined early, you might have checked out this first, the one AI that we are using basically to welcome you folks to this particular live session. I'm talking about Amazon Poly. So Amazon Poly is a text-to-speech conversion platform which we used today during a session to welcome you folks to the session. What it does, very simple thing, converts a text to audio. You can listen to this one more time, then we will move on to the next demo.
Hello, folks.
I'm an artificial intelligence powered by Amazon Polly. This is not a pre-recorded audio. Welcome to the 90 minutes AWS Certified Machine Learning Specialty Certification Demo Session. Our live session will start in a few minutes. Do you know? We have planned a free giveaway for this session. Complete the session and download 3 must-have machine learning ebooks for free. Chances to win free $25 AWS credits if you stay till the end of this webinar.
Isn't it amazing? So Amazon Polly is used by many different kinds of companies where you have a use case where you want to convert your text to audio. Just imagine, after knowing how to use Amazon Polly, you can able to build something similar to Audible. You can able to create into a business out of it, right? So let us get started. So this is how your AWS console will look. Once we will help you to create an AWS account, that's completely okay. It's not a problem. So once you go to AWS, if you click on services, if you scroll down, you'll find machine learning. And here we go. What AWS offers in terms of the entire AI and ML. The first demo that we're going to look is on Amazon recognition. So let's get started with Amazon recognition. What is Amazon recognition? Is again, it's a computer vision based platform. Anything that you want to build as part of computer vision, you can able to use Amazon recognition. So Amazon recognition provides this use cases, supports these use cases like label detection, image moderation, facial analysis, celebrity recognition, face comparison, text and image, PPE detection, and real-time video analysis. So let us get started with the label detection. So there is a sample image which is already uploaded by Amazon. So my machine has already made a prediction. It's time to validate that. So you can see there is a picture which is uploaded by Amazon. It's a random guy who is skating in a road. So if I move my cursor, check it out. It says there is a person. If I move my cursor near to the cars, it says there is a car. And if I move my cursor near to the wheel, it says it's a wheel, right? If I move my cursor near to the skateboard, it predicts there is a skateboard. And the more results comes towards my right side of my screen, if I hit show more, you can see these are the possible labels that we have predicted from that particular picture. It says there is a car, 98.8%, that's a confidence. So automobile, vehicle, transportation, person, right? So here the car, automobile, vehicle, transportation, all this four possible label represents some kind of an automobile in the picture. And you can see there is a person, human being, pedestrian, skateboard. Check it out. So 94.4%, 3%, there is a skateboard in the picture, right? So there are more possible labels. It says the sports, road, wheel, machine, path, downtown. Check this out. It says it's a town, downtown. It says it's a city, right? So this label detection can also identify the scenery of that particular picture in that particular picture, right? So now it's always fun to upload my own picture from my computer, and let's do a real-time machine learning by uploading a real picture from my laptop. So let us get started. So now let me try to pick a picture from my laptop so we can try to analyze it in a real time. So I'm going to pick a picture of this one. Okay, here we go. You can see this is the picture of a desk. You can see there's a lot of items in that particular picture, right? So you can see there is a lot of electronics, there's a computers, there are laptops, blah blah blah, right? If I move my cursor, you can see it says there is a computer keypad, it says it's a monitor, laptop, again it says computer keypad. The more results comes towards the right side of my screen, it says there is a furnitures, tables, computer keypads, hardwares, keyboard, computer hardware again, computer electronics, right? You can see a lot of electronics. Even there is a tiny electronic modules on that particular desk, right? So laptop, PC, monitor, LCD screens, right? Makes sense, right? So this is about label detection. And let's go to facial analysis. So you can see this is a facial analysis use case. This is all about analyzing a face, right? So you can see there's a beautiful woman. She's driving a car, and you can see there's a bounding box which is representing a phase, and it's extracting the parameters from that phase. It says looks like a phase, 99.9% appears to be female, and I want you folks to check out the age range. It says age range 25 to 33 years old. Exactly makes sense, right? So it says appears to be happy, 70 percentage, wearing glasses, 99.9%, wearing sunglasses, eyes are open, considering the situation. She is opening her eyes, obviously. So the mouth is open, makes sense. Does not have a mustache, does not have a beard. 98.3%, 94.4%. Do you think she has a mustache and a beard? No, right? So now let me try to toggle a picture, the one more picture that I have here. So I have a three faces. I can able to toggle between any face. Let me select the picture of a kid, and here it says looks like a face, appears to be female. So the particular algorithm can able to recognize it's a female. Check out the age range, 6 to 14 years old. Exactly makes sense, right? So yeah, so this is about facial analysis, and then I would like to show you one more demo on face comparison. So, and again, Amazon recognition is used by many different companies, and you don't believe US government is using recognition. So tell me yes in the chat window, in case if you are from US, I will tell you how exactly US government is using recognition and how you are part of it. Tell me yes in case if you're from US in a chat window, then I will tell you why recognition, how exactly recognition is used. So Mohammed said yes, he is from US. Awesome. So if you see like, let's consider movies. For example, we love watching movies, especially action movies, right? Let's say there is a terrorist who is roaming in a city in a different shape, right? So if you see in the movies, a police will use some kind of face comparison algorithm basically to recognize that particular terrorist who is in a different shape, right? So you can able to use recognition for the same different similar use cases. You can see a face comparison is the one use case where you have a reference phase, where you have a comparison phase. So the all we are trying to do here is like exactly, Mohammed, sounds like China. Exactly, makes sense. So China is already using such kind of systems on their traffic light. Every every CCTV cameras in a traffic light, they are embedded with this face comparison algorithms, where it is continuously recognizing who is walking, who is that person, all those details. Yes. So you can see there is a comparison phase. All we are trying to do is recognizing the reference phase is presented in that comparison phase. Once it presents, you can see it says there is a similarity 99.9%. So even I can able to toggle a different pictures over here, and we can still able to obtain similarity. So the girl in this reference phase, she is presented in a comparison phase, and here comes a result with particular pictures cropped for us, right? So this is about phase comparison use case. So before I would like to provide you more demo, so let me just provide you one more demo, then we will talk about our course, then we will get started. Here is a one more demo on a text in an image. Text in an image. So this particular feature in Amazon recognition can able to extract a text from that particular picture. You can see there is a picture of a car, and there's a number plate has been extracted in the results towards the right side, right? So the idea is very simple. So let's say, just imagine after knowing how to use Amazon recognition, you can able to build anything as part of computer vision. Let's say you want to automate your CCTV cameras, let's say in your traffic light in your city. Let's say if any person who is crossing a red light illegally, like you can able to capture a number plate of that particular car, you can able to use recognition to extract the number plate, you can able to find them automatically, right? So that's what it does. So this is about Amazon recognition. So there's some more demos coming into the picture. I will be showing a real-time chatbot service. So in the meantime, let's talk about this course, then we will get started. So before we talk about this course, what I would like to show this particular slide to every event that we do in our company. So the transformation, the speed of transformation, the speed of innovation that is happening in the world, right? Just consider the in olden times, in early 2009s, where a camera person and pilot goes around for the a simple shot they want to shoot, a simple news they want to cover, right? So this particular problem, a cameraman and a pilot has been replaced just in 10 years, right? So what I'm trying to say, it's time to upgrade and choose what exactly you want. And this particular course offers you everything that you need. So do you want to become a data engineer? Do you want to become a data scientist? Do you want to become an ML engineer? And this course can able to offer. So this particular course that we're talking about, AWS Machine Learning Specialty Certification course, it starts from 11th of June, and the dates are something like this. So every Saturday, Sunday, because all these dates that you're seeing over here, so 11th, 12th, 18th, 19th, 25th, 26th, second and third, everything is on Saturdays and Sundays only. So every Saturday, Sunday, we're going to have a 4-hour session. So the timings is something like this. If you're joining from India, it's going to be 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. IST. If you're from EST, it's going to be 9:30 to 1:30. If you're from CET, it's going to 3:30 to 7:30. So So who is this certification is for? Who can able to attend with this particular certification? So AWS Machine Learning Specialty Certification course, it can be a developers, it can be a data scientist, and even a beginners. So I will tell you how. So there are three categories of audience who usually attend our this particular course. So one is working professionals who want to complete this course and they want to write an exam to AWS and they want to receive a credibility certificate from AWS. Another categories of working professionals who want to just complete this course because let's say those working professionals who was already working on machine learning, let's say that particular company is using AWS services, but this particular candidate, they might be not having a skills, especially the skill sets that he want to satisfy his job needs, right? So those kind of working professionals we usually see. Then another category of people is obviously students, beginners, and college professors even. So as part of AWS Machine Learning Specialty Certification course, so we added more extra syllabus, which is not part of this course, and exactly that's extra syllabus that we've added to support beginners to get started. So the first 2 day session itself just dedicated for the basics, getting started with Python, getting started with other aspects of libraries, let's say Panda, statistics, and probabilities and other stuff. Okay, let's validate one more thing. Why exactly the certification? So let's say I am an existing data scientist, an existing data engineer. Okay, so how is this is going to be benefited for you? So benefits for an individual and benefits for the company who is going to hire you. So obviously, as an individual, it demonstrates that you have an expertise. So for example, it earns a recognition and visibility. Once you finish an exam and you get a certificate, obviously, let's say there are 5 data scientists who goes for an interview. There's a one data scientist who has AWS Machine Learning Specialty Certification. What do you think? Who's given a priority? Obviously, the person who has a certification, because you earn a recognition and visibility from AWS, right? So a benefits for an employer would be like obviously identifying a IT professional who has a background of AWS will be easier for an employer because you hold a certificate, you hold the knowledge, you hold the hands-on, right? So that's how the things work. So as part of AWS Machine Learning Specialty, these are the 4 main important modules that will be covered. So data engineering, which is as a weightage of 20%, and exploratory data analysis at 24%, and modeling. This is where all the deep learning concepts comes into the picture, algorithm, TensorFlow, right? 36%, and machine learning implementation and operation. This is where all the model deployment, implementation, and monitoring of pipelines comes into the picture, 20%. And this is the one more question that we usually get. Will you cover a real-time projects and implementations? Yes, we do. Because this particular certification program is not just focused on you to get an exam, to clear an exam, to get a certificate. It's also focused on giving you a hands-on knowledge for the job that you're going to get. So you won't believe there are more than 30 plus labs in this particular course, 5 real-time projects that we're going to build, and 1 real-time pipeline implementation. So totally put together, let's say it's a 36 hours and 20 hours of assignments. We give some assignments after the course you can able to work out. So max, you can consider it's a 40 hours course. So max, it's going to be a 40 hours course totally. And you might ask a question, I'm a fresher, can I able to attend this particular course? Obviously yes. As I mentioned, we have added extra curriculum, so where it can able to make any fresher to get started from a basics. So do we need to attend all the sessions? Obviously every weekend we will be having a session. Yes, obviously it's mandate, you need to attend all the session. And obviously yes, you will be having an access to recordings, of all the sessions that we have, and again a mentoring and a support will be provided for you in case if you're missing 1 or 2 sessions, obviously. So what other opportunities will be provided? Obviously, once after completing a course, so you will be part of our community groups, and we will be providing a mentoring for you every time. I mean, what is this community that we are very proud of? So the community is something like where we have a huge number of peoples, where we keep on publishing a lot of data. It may be a free webinars like this that you can attend. It may be a free ebooks, job updates, very importantly, right? So that's how we do also a placement support, maybe a resume preparations. And again, we understand each and every person's, because here we don't get one single category of people. There is a fresher, there is a person who are getting started with machine learning, but he has some knowledge on data. There is an existing data scientist. We understand each and every person's necessity, and we guide them what exactly they can able to do. So let's say after completing a course, maintaining your GitHub profile and making sure you apply for a few jobs, let's say attending some few hackathons. So we guide them individually what they want to do, right? Opportunities for students, in case if you're students, you can apply for internships that we will be providing. So that's again a different task. So in case if you're available for us to work with us for with our team, you can also apply for us an internship. So prerequisite is anyone from science and engineering background, they can able to apply for this particular course. And if you have any knowledge on any programming language, will work. Obviously, we don't want an expertise. You don't need to be an expert in any programming language to attend, but if you have some basics, that would help, right? So obviously you'll be getting a the course completion certificate from Psitron Technologies. And if you want to write AWS exam, so we will be conducting after the session, we'll be conducting an exam preparation session to make sure you be prepared for writing an exam. And so as I mentioned, AWS Machine Learning Specialty Certification course has 30 plus hands-on labs, 5 real-time projects, 1 pipeline implemented project, dedicated mentoring, so 40 hours session. And a lot of people are asking a question. So what is the fees amount? What's the structure of a fees? So let me also validate each and everything to at least to make sense whether the price is comfortable or not. So once, because I'm talking about a specialist level certification program, that is AWS Machine Learning Specialty, right? So every cloud platform, it may be AWS, it may be Google Cloud, or it may be Amazon Cloud, it may be Alibaba, whatever it is. Every different cloud platforms has their own certification programs. For example, AWS itself has a lot of different certification programs like AWS Solution Architect, DevOps certification, and we are talking about AWS Machine Learning Specialty certification. So let's say you want to write an exam to AWS and you want to get a certificate. So AWS itself charges a dollar 300. $300 for writing an exam. So and again, that writing an exam depends on the person, what you want for your particular job. So again, $300, if you convert into Indian rupees, it comes around somewhere 30,000 rupees, right? So and again, every training institute who going to teach this particular course for you going to charge 30,000 rupees. That's a minimal starting price for this particular course. But we are not doing that. So from the past three months, let's say, due to this pandemic, we are not charging this 30,000 rupees, but we are charging 50% discount in that. That's true. Obviously, it starts from 15,000 rupees. That's it, 14,999 rupees per person. It's a 50% off. I will suggest you to validate in case if it is necessary by yourself. So what you get in this particular 15,000 rupees, obviously access to the complete course, access to the recordings, community support, as I'm talking about the mentoring, access to any webinars that we do, maybe hands-on guide and a free ebooks that you can able to download. And let's consider you want to join as a group, you have a professional, you have a friend that is joining along with you. So if you join as a group, let's say a group of 2 people, you can able to get a 10% discount to get started. And in case if you're an international participant, you're joining outside from India, so the price is going to be $205. That's it. So you get all the opportunities, access to recordings, community support, webinars, and hands-on guide. And more importantly, we are not expecting more peoples for this course because it's going to be complete hands-on for this 40 hours that I'm talking about. We're going to be completely busy building things. So we are expecting less than 20 peoples for this particular course. And one more thing, it won't be fun without providing you some offers, right? So it won't be fun. I told you already we have a price of 50% discount, but I don't think so that is enough. I don't think so that is enough. But here we go. So here is a special offer that we have only for the peoples who are attending our webinar, and especially for this batch. So if you're going to register for this batch, you can also attend next batch. I mean, you can able to retake this course twice. So you can able to retake our live sessions once again. So right now we are doing batch 6. If you complete batch 6, you can also attend batch 7 for the same course. This is only applies for this batch, not for the next upcoming batches. Okay, so it applies for the international participants too. Remember, I'm talking about if you attend this batch, you can able to retake another batch. Okay, and one more thing that I would like to validate. So the actual market price that I already revealed for you, so you can able to Google out a few training institutes, you get some lot of data. You can see there's a training institute there is charging £1,495 just for this particular course. Just convert what is the amount that it's going to be, right? And why do you think Psitron Technologies is the best persons to teach you? So we are not the first time. We are not the first time we are teaching this course. We do a lot of things into ML and AI. We do a lot of hands-on exercises. So and again, so we have huge experience. We are part of AWS Activate and the Best Startup Award from FKCCA Bangalore, and we have represented our products in many international stages. And again, check it out. So here we have our happy participants who completed our courses and who completed AWS Machine Learning Specialty exams too. And what do they say after attending our workshops and courses? How do they feel after completing our courses and hands-on that we provide? Right, so it's going to be more fun like this webinar. So we're going to discuss on a lot of different use cases, practical use
Sir,
cases,
what is the
and
closing
each
time?
and every,
Sir,
let's say we are talking about each and every services. For example, we talk about S3, we talk about SageMaker, we talk about customer case studies. I mean, how exactly customers uses AWS services, and what are the problems they are solving, right? So check it out what exactly our customers talks about, what exactly our students talks about after getting a certification. Yep. And obviously we do offline classes, that is Bangalore, but this AWS machine learning specialty is going to be an online course. So it's going to start from as I mentioned, so 11th of June, the registrations has been already started. We have very less seats. If this is satisfying you, just go and register for our course. And now let me provide you one more demo, and then I will open up a Q&A for a live interaction with you folks. Okay, so make sure you pour in all your questions. I'm going to take one more minute just to provide a demo on one more chat application. Then I will come back to answer your questions. Okay,
Sir, you are
and
saying
here we go.
three free books.
So we are talking about Amazon Lex, right? So the chatbot service that I'm talking about, right? So Amazon Lex, which is a customized chatbot platform where you can build a customized chatbots that you want. So
Hello,
let's say when
hello,
you want to
hello,
build
hello,
a
hello,
customized
hello.
chatbots, okay? Let's say you want to build a customized chatbot that you want. Let's say you want to build a customized chatbot for a flower shop. Let's say you want to build a customized chatbot for a pizza shop. Let's say for any different use case. So one thing you need to always understand how your customer really interacts, right? Let's say you want to let's say for example a person comes to a pizza shop, and how exactly the interaction takes place, right? So once a person comes to a pizza shop, he might ask, okay, I would like to order some pizza, right? Otherwise he might say, I would like to order some pepperoni pizza with extra toppings with a cheese burst, right? Isn't it fun? Obviously. So you need to understand how the interaction goes on both the persons in a first hand, right? So now here is a quick chatbot that I built on a flower shop. Let's say a person goes to a flower shop and he like to order some flowers. Okay, so let me try to provide a quick demo. And again, Amazon Lex is powered by Amazon. It is actually derived from Amazon Alexa. So by using Alexa, you can able to interact with voice, right? So here similarly with Amazon Lex, you can able to interact with both text and a voice. Okay, so now it's fun time to have some fun. So now I would like to ask this flower to order some flowers. I mean, I would like to ask this chatbot to order some flowers. So let us get started. So now I'm going to interact with audio. I would like to order some flowers. So now I'm inputting audio.
What type of flowers would you like to order?
Here we go. We got our output. It's we got a replay saying what type of flowers would you like to order. So now I can able to replay saying roses.
What day do you want the roses to be picked up?
That's awesome. So it's asking again, what day do you want these roses to be picked up? So I can say, let's say I will just mention a date, 2022-05-23. Okay, 23. So now you can see there's no audio. If I interact with text, I get a text. If I interact with audio, I get audio. So pick up at what time tomorrow. For example, that particular date, let's say I can just mention 10 a.m.
Pick up the roses at what time on May 23rd, 2022?
10 a.m.
Okay, your roses will be ready for pickup by 10 o'clock on May 23rd, 2022, and will cost $25. Does this sound okay?
Okay, so you can see now we got a text back. It's saying, okay, it's cost going to $25. Is that okay? That's okay. You can see Amazon Lex is a platform where you can able to build a customized chatbot. So you can build anything that you want. Maybe if you want to, like, let's say deploy a chatbot for your e-commerce website, for your blog. Let's say you want to deploy this particular chatbots on, let's say, a messenger, a Facebook Messenger to drive your digital marketing. So you can build wonders on top of it. And it's time to share. So registration details for this particular course and curriculum details for this course. And so this particular link has it's a link to download the free ebooks. So I'm going to share this particular message in a chat window. So let me just quickly explain. The first link is for registration link for this particular course, AWS Machine Learning Specialty. And second link is for a place where you can download the course curriculum that we're offering for this particular course. And third link is a place where you can able to download the free ebooks. And below we have a contact information of mine. You can able to talk to me in case if you have any particular questions that you need to ask regarding this particular question. Okay, so I'm going to take a 1 more minute. I'm going to explain the curriculum that we have. Then I'm going to ask you a few questions based out of this particular webinar. So whoever going to answer first, they're going to get a $25 AWS credits. Okay, so we are going to give away 2 AWS credits. Let's say who is going to win that. So before that, I'm going to take a 1 more minute just to explain this curriculum that we have. So let me repeat once again the links that I shared in a chat window. The first link is for registration platform for this particular course, and second link is for the curriculum download. I mean the same PDF that you can able to download, and third link for a place where you can download a free ebooks. Okay, so you can able to download this particular curriculum using a second link, but I'm going to explain what we're going to learn. Okay, so as I mentioned, the first module in this particular course is refreshing the basics, especially supporting beginners. So this is a place where we'll be getting started with the Python basics and obviously hands-on on Python and pandas. And we're going to dig deep into a few topics of statistics and probability, doing hands-on on various different topics like mean, mode, median, percentiles, let's say visualization tools that you can able to use in Jupyter notebooks like Matplotlib, Seaborn, right? So data engineering tools. So data engineering tools like especially data cleaning techniques, normalization techniques, k-fold cross validation techniques, right? Handling outliers, removing that outliers in your data. So once we are done with refreshing basics, then actually we are starting with this particular course, that is data engineering in AWS. So as I mentioned, we're going to explore all the possible data engineering tools in AWS. It may be S3, as I discussed. It may be Glue. It may be Kinesis. It may be Amazon Athena. Different kinds of databases that you can use in the perspective of machine learning. right? So container services, AWS serverless services like AWS Lambda, and then comes data analysis services, right? So especially for, let's say, you want to visualize your data by using Amazon QuickSight, right? So otherwise Amazon Athena that you want to use to analyze your data, are using Hadoop systems on Elastic MapReduce for big data use cases, right? Are using Apache Spark on Hadoop systems. So once we are done with data analysis, we're going to jump into modeling in AWS. So this is where we will be talking about all the concepts of deep learning, activation function, different varieties of deep neural networks, and tuning techniques, regularization parameter techniques, right? And confusion matrix, the metrics that you can able to use to measure your model, right? And here we go. We're going to explore all the AI services, and we're going to do hands-on on few particular AI services. So there are a lot of AI services that build for many different kinds of use cases here. And then comes the very important module, that is machine learning in Amazon SageMaker. So this is where we're going to spend most of our time. So Amazon SageMaker is built for developers. If you want to become a specialist, everything like a build, train, and deploy. So we're going to dig deep into Amazon SageMaker, how to use Amazon SageMaker, how to use Amazon S3, because S3 is a place where we keep all our data sets. So we're going to explore all the built-in algorithms, and we're going to build real-time projects on a specific algorithm, let's say image classification, maybe a linear regression, maybe a random cut forest. And most importantly, we're going to provide example notebooks for all these algorithms where you can able to explore yourself and build a lot of things out of it. And obviously model training and tuning techniques. And very importantly, this is where we talk about building a pipelines on Amazon SageMaker, deploying your model on elastic inferences, automatic scaling process, and standard practices in deploying a machine learning model. And we're going to also explore machine learning frameworks like Apache Spark, Apache MXNet, TensorFlow. We're going to do a real-time hands-on and real-time data on TensorFlow, and few other tools like let's say ground truth. And once a machine learning engineer has deployed a model, obviously it's mandate to monitor a model. We use different tools like CloudWatch, CloudTrail to monitor your model, and other SDKs that you need for a front-end developer to build service, a client-side application to interact with, let's say, with the client apps. So this is about complete curriculum. You can able to download this curriculum. You'll get complete details. You can able to check it out, what our customers talks about once after completing a workshop and courses. You'll get some better clarity. Otherwise, you can call me in the numbers that I mentioned over here if you need any more clarity. So now I will open the session for a Q&A. Let me just answer a few questions in the chat window. Otherwise, you can able to unmute your mic. You can able to talk to me. Anything that you want to talk. So now let me try to answer a few questions that I have in a chat window. So then, so folks, feel free to unmute your mics and you can able to talk to me. So now let me try to ask one more question. So Shahik, sorry if I'm pronouncing your names wrong. Farin Shaikh, how long this session is going to take? So this session, I mean, the complete AWS Machine Learning Specialty Certification course, as I'm talking about, the dates are over here, and max we are looking for 40 hours. Okay. So now let me ask, try to answer one more question. So you can mention your questions in your chat window. Otherwise, feel free to unmute your mics and you can ask your question. So, Chaudhary Vikas, question.
From course content, it seems that Python is required, and
Sorry, like once before that, sorry. So before you're talking, you can just tell me your name and you can tell what's your role exactly, if you're a student, if you're a working professional. So then it would make sense for me to provide some more data if you don't mind, please.
so my name is Prashant, and I'm a working professional. I'm a certified AWS architect. So
Okay, awesome. That's good.
like how this can
Go ahead.
help me to upgrade further, because in our job we are not doing programming work a lot,
Yeah.
and for me to learn programming is also, that from starting it would be difficult. So how much we
Okay.
need to do, and from it seems that we need to learn Python basic content to get us a start. But ideally, I have seen that when we work really in real scenarios, we have to do a lot of work related to
Obviously.
development. We need to write the code many times
Yep.
when we are working on real projects. This is what I
Makes
think.
sense. Yep.
So this is one, and this is like there were many services where we are not able to do the hands-on on
Mm-hmm.
this code, because hands-on is applicable for few services, if I'm not wrong, right? You have seen the course, you have
Okay,
course.
so you can complete it. Maybe I can able to answer that. So one question is, do we need to be really expert? Do we need to be learning Python in a higher level to get started? I mean, if you want to become a
That is
specialist,
one,
that's your
yeah,
first
that is
question.
one. And in short, how we can compete for other services, because there is no hands-on. So that without hands-on, it is
Okay,
very
okay.
difficult.
Awesome. Let's get started. So here is the answers for your first question. So the first question what you asked is, okay, so you need to have, do we need to have a Python basics to get started? So as I mentioned, let's say even you are a beginner, you have some knowledge on any different types of programming language, that is enough to get started. Because what we are doing in a first 2 day session, we'll be refreshing few basics of Python that you need to have to get started with the machine learning. Additional to that, let's say you want to grow your Python skills, we share a lot of materials, hands-on materials, where you can able to shape yourself always. Okay, so the idea is very simple. So because you said in your existing job, so you don't do a lot of program, because let's say if you're a data engineer, like you just holds on your jobs on data, you don't do much program. Let's say the goal
Exactly.
for you to get the data on S3, and you use some streaming services like Kinesis or Glue services basically to handle the data. Obviously you don't have much programming knowledge over there, but it's completely up to you, Prashant, what you want to pick over here. So I will suggest, let's say you want to become a specialist, you need to know, like you can able to be an all-rounder over here. So start becoming an expert in a Python, that's completely okay. So the thing is, like once after completing the certification program, it opens a door in many different ways. You want to become a data engineer, yeah, you stick to data engineer. So there obviously you don't do much programming. So let's say you want to build a model, and you want to pick up a different algorithms, solve a problem, train a model, hyperparameter tuning on top of it. Yes, you need to know Python to get started with that. And let's say another part, ML engineer. You want to deploy a model, and you want to take care and monitor a drifts over there, maintaining a pipeline. I'm talking about MLOps pipeline. And again, there you don't need even a much programming, but yes, still we need some part of a programming over there to take care about it. But there you will be taking care of MLOps pipelines, like say model registries, feature stores, and let's say we talk about repositories where you store your models, all those stuff, right? So it's completely up to you. But let's say you want to become a specialist, get started with the programming, that's completely okay. And second question that you asked, okay, hands-on. So let's say when you're getting started with AWS provides 1 year free trial for entire AWS. Literally, you can able to, for a learning perspective, I'm talking about, Prashant, not for the production use case. So let's say for the learning perspective, AWS offers free trial for every majority of services. Even in a SageMaker, especially in this particular course, we're going to cover all those hands-on part of free trial only. Not, we are not going to exceed the free trial. Let's say you want to do hands-on on SageMaker, yes, here we go, you can do it. Hadoop systems, especially on EMR provides a free trial limit, so you can get started with that too. Yeah. So I hope I answered your
But the thing
question. So
is,
now,
but the thing
yeah,
is, your name is Sarath, right? Sorry if I'm spelling wrong.
Sharat,
It is,
yes.
yeah. Sarath, like uh, the hands-on which we are not covering actually. So to cover that in free trial, that is fine. But that suppose I'm new to EC2, okay,
Yeah,
and if I
makes sense.
don't see the hands-on, it would be very difficult for me to start up as. I hope you got
Hmm.
my point. So
Okay.
if
Okay.
you showed me like how recognition work, right? So
Yep,
maybe I
yep,
can
yep.
pick it there. But if I'm new, because I am like I'm certified AWS certified, but you know that if you ask me practically,
Makes sense. Makes
that
sense.
record.
Okay.
Theory makes sense, but practically, if you ask me to run a demo, I can't do. This is
Okay,
the
okay, okay. So let me tell you how our trainings are going to be. See, my trainings are going to be something like this. So let's say once we start our session, let's say we want to build a machine learning model. It's not something I build, you just watch. It's not going to work like that. Each and every step that I'm going to do on my screen, you're going to literally replicate those steps on your screen. So that's what your first practice,
so
that's how
for
it's
the
going to get
services,
started.
for the services where hands-on is not written, it will be there will be hands-on also. Is it?
I mean, the services wherever I written hands-on in the curriculum, yes, there will be an hands-on. So we
Correct.
we we are
For the other
majorly covering all
services.
the services. So obviously, like let's say for example, you don't need much hands-on on let's say MySQL, because MySQL is not meant for right now, because it's not literally not very important as part of machine learning. Let's say what exactly you need to become an expert. You need a hands-on in S3. You need a hands-on on data engineering tools like Kinesis, Glue, and you need a hands-on on SageMaker, you need a hands-on on AI services, you need a hands-on on MLOps. That's what exactly we are focusing on. Let's say something that you need a hands-on on how to build a front-end application. No, it's not part of this course. So we have made sure what you need to become a specialist.
Oh,
Okay,
and so
so
just one
let
last question.
yep,
One last question. Like the salary range we can expect is around average salary range is around 15 lakhs per annum in India, right? And it's
exactly
starting
what Glasgow
from
says.
5
Yes,
lakhs to
exactly.
10 lakhs something
Yeah,
like
that's the minimum salary is starts from 5 lakhs. Yeah, so and maximum, you know, that stuff like the starts from 7,000K. So and again, those prices are meant to be go up in a future, not going to stay in a 15 lakhs itself. Yeah. Okay.
that.
So
Oh,
now let
thank
me go on. Let me answer others' questions. Yeah, sorry folks, if I'm coming to you guys right now. Okay. So now let me try to. Okay, so now let me, if you anyone has other questions, please unmute your mic. You can talk to me.
Hello, Sarath. I'm Praveen.
Hi, Praveen.
I'm assistant professor in some college. Okay.
Awesome.
Uh, my question is there any knowledge of AWS practitioner required for this specialty course? And
That's
one
an
more
awesome
question.
question.
And one more
Okay.
question is, how can I help my student by doing in this course?
Okay, that's good. So here is the answer. Uh, Usually we get this question. So I mean, the question the particular professor asked, in order to get started with AWS Machine Learning Specialty, do I need to take one more course, that is AWS Practitioner? Not necessary actually, because AWS certification courses are not tied in such a way. So let's say you want to become, you want to take AWS machine learning specialty, you can get started with that, because all you need to know how to get started with AWS, those things are already been covered in AWS. Let's say the basic things, how to use IAM console, for example, because we'll be using IAM console a couple of times in this particular courses, how to use S3, how to use Kinesis. It's literally straightforward. You don't need, let's say you want to become a solution architect in AWS, you don't need to take some other course, some other certification to become solution architect. It's not work like that. Okay. And let me try to answer the second question that you asked. How can this particular course can able to help your students to gain more knowledge? So let me try to explain this again. So let's say, I mean, so we've been exploring what exactly the university syllabus has, what they talk about. Obviously, like most of the college syllabus right now, literally it is completely a text, not like something they have a labs where they train a model and do the stuff. And again, even still, students know how to train a model and do the stuff. And where does this industrial knowledge comes to the picture? So let's say I'm talking about the more than 1.5 million companies, how they use machine learning in their companies. That's what exactly we're going to do in this particular course, right? So that's the thing. And one more thing, as part of an education industry when I'm talking about, so now this cloud industries like AWS, Google, and Microsoft, they are entering into the curriculum for their students. So student, I know that those cloud platforms are working with the governments, especially to bring up, so you might expect a separate subject as AWS cloud computing as soon in your syllabus. Maybe that might happen in the future. So maybe AWS machine learning comes into the picture over there. So obviously, like this is how this where I can see the lights for a students from a professor actually. Okay, I hope I
Thank you.
answered your question. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you.
So Joseph asked a question. Will it cover a built-in AWS machine learning models? Because I noticed there is a AWS data engineering services. Joseph, yes. As I displayed a slide already, which we are covering, we'll be exploring all the built-in algorithms in AWS, and there are few hands-ons that we'll be building on that. So Joseph asked for the link. I mean, let me just try to reshare this link once again in a chat window. So folks, again, the first link for registration platform, the second link for downloading curriculum, and third link for downloading, free ebooks. And now I'm going to ask you two questions that I'm talking about for free AWS credits. Whoever answers first, they're going to get a first AWS credits. Then I'm going to answer the few remaining questions. Okay, so the first question that I would like to ask, okay, so we have explored few demos on AWS. I would like to ask questions in that itself. So the first demo that I provided, a text to speech service. So what is the name of that particular AI service? So what is the name
Amazon
of that AI service?
Polly.
So
Amazon Polly.
okay. So
Amazon
the
Polly.
first answered in the chat window. Yeah, not via audio. Okay. So I guess we are getting a questions. Okay, so Pradeep answered first. So he's going to get a first AWS credits, $25. So Pradeep, I want you to just email me. I mean, not email me. So just DM me your email privately. You can go to GoToMeeting. You can just send me an email address. Otherwise, you do one thing. You can just send me a WhatsApp message through the numbers that I have. So just contact me, Pradeep. So Pradeep, I guess, yeah, Pradeep. The first person was answered. So I'm just going to direct message you in a GoToMeeting. You can just mention. Okay, the Amazon Poly, that makes sense. Okay, so I'm going to ask you one more question for the second AWS credits. So let me think, what do I ask? Okay. Okay. Okay, here is the second question. Let me make it very simple. Okay, let me ask this. What is the AI service where I can build a chatbot services? Okay, we got to answer again. It's a very quick. Yes, it's very simple. I know, like I don't want to make it complex. The answer is from
Amazon
Shinhail. Shinhail Thakur.
Amazon.com, let's
So sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. Shinhail, maybe you can just email. I mean,
answer
your email
AWS,
address.
let's search.
I'm going to DM. So DM me, please. So Pradeep and Shail Thakur, so please, you can DM me your email addresses so we can able to share the coupon code. So now I'm going to answer remaining questions of you folks. So I will take some time. If you have any other questions, please unmute your mic. You can talk to me. So Yogesh said the booking is not open. I will just show the page. What you need to do, just go to this URL, the bit.ly aws-ml.course. So once you go to this particular page, you will see, so which is hosted on a Townscript, which is a third-party platform, and you can see here is a book now page. You can also read uh, the complete details. There is a curriculum here also, and we have attached the customer feedbacks. You can also check it out. So the book now button, you can able to pick the seats that you need over here. Yeah. Okay. So now I'm going to ask a few more questions. Here we go. Okay. Okay, should I pay for AI SageMaker? Tiago asked a question. Should I pay for AI ML SageMaker in AWS? It's not. It's not going to work like that, Tiago. So you can able to create. You will be creating an AWS free trial account. Anyone who creates AWS account, AWS provides 1 year free trial. So we're going to complete this particular entire course within that free trial limit. So I mean, you don't want to pay any extra amount to AWS. So, I mean, Parison Amadi. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing the names so wrong. So do we need to pass an exam for certificate? So it's a good question. So as I mentioned, there are three categories of peoples. One is you want to complete the course and get a exam and get a certificate from exam. So again, that holds a credibility. Yes, if you pass the exam, you'll get a certificate. So another category of peoples is obviously like they don't want to complete the exam because they just need a skill set because their companies are hiring for that too. No issues with that. So because the particular company is they are already using AWS, but the particular candidate who is working there, he don't have a skill sets on AWS. That's why he might be completing this course. But he might not complete the exam very immediately. But let's say he might complete the exam maybe in a later future. So Mohammed asked a question. So AWS certificate cost includes in this particular training? No. I would like to confirm that very clearly because AWS charges a $300 for training fee, but we charge for this particular course that is $205. That is only this particular course. $205. That's only for the training, the teaching, the hands-on that we are providing. It's not included with this training fee. Okay. So Tago has one more question. So what do I do workout during your class? Should I pay for services I need to use on AWS for free? No, no, Tago. As I mentioned, you can able to explore the complete AWS for free for next 1 year within that free trial limit. You don't want to pay any extra money for AWS to do any answer on top of it. Okay, we have one more question. Okay, Gopinath asked, is there any center for classes or all classes are hands-on training through online? So Gopinath, as of right now, the entire training is on online. I don't think so. We need a physical space because there's no physical things that we are working out because yeah, it's completely and online as of right now, Gopinath. Yeah. So after completing a course, do you refer our profiles to any company? Okay, this is let me just answer that. Bitu Sharma so ask this question. So the how exactly that we are providing a placement support over here. So we have a network of companies, the corporates. So where we publish their job opportunities in our group. So where you can able to apply for that. So we keep on spreading a job opportunities many different ways. It may be the job updates. It may be hiring hackathons that you can able to apply in many different fashions. Okay, so you can see Fatima has asked the interesting questions. So what I understood is that hands-on course which makes me qualified to take AWS ML specialty exam, right? So Fatima, let me answer this very interesting. So you can see this particular course when I webinar is started, I clearly mentioned this course is not just focused on for you to clear AWS exam because clearing AWS machine learning exam is very easy. So we told there are 30 plus hands-on labs, right? So there are 30 plus hands-on labs and so let me just go to that slide. So 30 plus labs and 5 real-time projects, 1 real-time pipeline implementation. So you don't need such a huge hands-on practice to clear exam. Just a one hands-on on SageMaker, one hands-on on many services enough. But why we are doing a lot of hands-on? Obviously, the deal is also to support the skill sets, the hands-on knowledge that you need to have to support your job needs. So let's say tomorrow your company, let's say your team leader, maybe a manager has for you to build, let's say, extract a data from Kinesis and bring that data to Glue, process it, and convert the data into JSON. Let's say there's some requirements like that, so you can able to build it completely from scratch. So yeah, it's not just for clearing exam, for also to support your skill sets that is need for your job. Okay, so then let me try to answer a few more questions. Okay. Okay, so looks like yeah. So I guess I have answered all the questions. If you folks if you have any more questions, please unmute your mic. You can able to ask the questions, please. So I will spare a few more minutes if you have any other questions. So Mohammed asked a question. So what is the cost of getting a certificate? So AWS charges $300. That's the cost of AWS examination. So, and don't confuse between the fee that we are collecting, that is only for the training. So where it starts from $205. So let me reshare the download the links once again in the chat window. And again, so the registrations has been started 2 weeks ago already. We have very limited seats. And again, just validate quickly if you need, let's say if you want to check it out, what exactly others charges. I did validated myself from your side to provide some more clarity. So the actual fee, the market fee for this particular course starts from 30,000 rupees. That is in terms of USD is going to start from $400. So we try to offer you a much affordable fee. And so what I want you folks to think about this particular offer. So register once, but you can retake this course again for both batch 6 and batch 7 that is going to come in the next batch. So I will spare a few more minutes. Please let me know if you have folks have any questions so I can able to answer your questions. So Pradeep, let me check whether you have shared your email. Just checking if there is in a chat window. Okay, so confirm me, Pradeep. It's actually Pradeep SAHO111 @ I guess noted. And Shahil Thakur, let me also just copy your email address. Yeah, I guess Thakur SNEHAL 1991 @ Makes sense. Got it. Okay, awesome. So if you folks have any more questions, please let me know. Okay, we are getting some few more questions. Let me help you. Could you share with the right? Okay, so okay, so Patik, sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. So Patik, so asked the question. So okay, Patik, so let me try to explain this. So Patik asked a question. Okay, so this is just a training, right? Do we need to pay $300 to get a certificate? No. See, we are not charging $300. So you need to understand it very clearly. So what we are trying to offer is a course. So we provide certificate from Psitron Technologies, that is particularly clear. So if you want to get a certificate from AWS, you need to write an exam to AWS. So once you clear an exam, AWS will provide you AWS provided certificate to you, right? So again, it's a requirement based on a participants. So if you do you need a certificate or not, it completely depends on you. So you can still get a certificate. So I mean, you can still get a job just by completing a course and having a hands-on knowledge building a project. That's completely okay. But if you want to get a credibility from AWS, you need to write an exam to AWS. So you need to pay that $300, what I'm talking about, to AWS, not to Citron Technologies. So Citron Technologies never comes to the picture because the exam is conducted by AWS. All we are doing here is to make you prepared for exam and make you prepared for you to get the job. That's it. So few people are asking a question, could we get a certificate for this webinar? So for this webinar, we are not planned to provide a certificate because yeah, so we didn't mention anywhere. I'm sorry, like if you're confused in that. So yep. I will spare a few more minutes in case if you folks have any more questions, please let me know. You can unmute your mic, you can able to talk to me. Prishan, we are from Iran. Okay, that's okay. In our country, we are Iran. This is really expensive. Okay, so I guess, I mean, so because I will let you know, like, because this is the very dead affordable price what I know what anyone from an internet that can able to offer. I don't think so, because it's a 40 hours course. There's a lot of hard work that is put in inside. So a lot of hands-ons that we're going to build. I guess this is the max, because it's already a 50% off. This price what we have put it, it's going to be just for this batch only. We are pretty much sure in that, because we tried offering this price from past two pandemics. Considering a pandemics, I guess it is making sense, because people's are because we are making sure at least people's come to the normal situation after the pandemic. Then we are deciding to increase the price actually. Okay, so I guess in a meantime, if you folks want to ask any question, I would like to end this particular webinar with final demo with a music. What music, Sharath? Are you going to play a music now to end this demo? So exactly, yes, but I'm not going to play a music. The AI is going to play a music. So it's going to be fun. So in the meantime, if you have any questions, prepare for that. So I'm talking about an AI service called Amazon Deep Composer. So if you have any more questions, please write it in a chat. Otherwise, you can able to uh, yeah, you can able to unmute your mic and talk to me. So the final demo that I'm talking about, Amazon Deep Composer. It's a device, it's a piano that you can buy from internet. You can compose the music in a piano, and you can able to use machine learning to generate a machine generated music. Let's say, tell me yes if you love music in a chat window. If you're still active in a webinar, just tell me yes if you love music. If you are a musician, let's say if any musicians here. So what does Amazon Deep Composer does? Let's say if you want to compose a music, let's say you need a band, you need, let's say, drums, you need a jazz, you need a rock music, pop music, whatever you want, right? So the thing is, let's say you need such an expensive band to build generate that particular music. But by using Amazon Deep Composer, just by having one single tune of piano, you can able to generate rest of the music. It's fun. So now let me just simply show you the way we can able to generate a music. But I am not a musician, so but let's see what we can do. So here is a piano. You can able to buy a physical hardware in an internet like this, right? So I'm not going to compose a tune, don't worry, because I'm not a good at music over here. So what I'm going to do, like, I'm going to pick a pre-recorded music from this piano. So maybe I can pick Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, maybe a Beethoven music. uh, okay, let me just pick a Beethoven music. So this is the music that is already composed. Okay, it should play. Okay, you can see this is a simple Beethoven music that has been uh, generated by this piano. But what if I need drums? I need to generate a pop music. I need such an expensive band, right? But what I can do, so I can use the three different algorithms that I have. It may be ARCNN, or maybe I can use GANs, or maybe a transforms. So I'm going to pick GANs. And here we go. So whether you need rock music, pop music, jazz music, so I can pick whatever I want. Let's say I pick rock music and I hit continue. It generates a music for me, and it takes a few seconds that it generates a music. And here we go. Finally, we have different layers of music. I just had a piano here. I had a guitar now, and I have some bass. I have some synth pads over here. So now let's hear what machine generated music looks like. So maybe it is not accurate, but still you can able to calibrate it over here if you are really uh, good at music, if you know what things does over here, obviously. So you can pick different things and you can replay it. So this is about Amazon Deep Composer. So machine can able to generate music. There are built-in algorithms in AWS which can able to use it for do the same job. So I hope you enjoyed our demo session on AWS Machine Learning Specialty. I will suggest you not to miss this particular course, and not a guarantee we cannot able to offer this particular course in the same affordable cost in next batch. And again, if you attend this batch, you can retake this course again for the next batch. Don't miss this opportunity. So I will reshare the download links once again in the chat window. So the first link is for the registration link, the second link is for the curriculum, and the third link where you can download the free ebooks. And below is my contact informations. Ping me anytime if you have any questions to ask. And yeah, enjoy your rest of your evening. I hope you really enjoy. Let me see if there is any other questions. I guess Kairari asked a question. So how to use OpenCV, a video stream using AWS? Very simple on SageMaker. So let's say if you want to implement OpenCV on AWS, you can use Amazon SageMaker to which can able to do the job. So you can launch an instance, and you can able to bring in the kind of an algorithm that you want, like especially OpenCV, for example. Otherwise, let's say I don't want to use OpenCV, I want to do some real-time video streaming. You can use Rekognition video streaming platform. You can analyze a real-time streaming video. Otherwise, you can analyze the stored video also. That's it, I guess. No other questions, I guess. So if you have any other questions, please contact me in the numbers that I shared you. I hope you enjoyed our webinar, and enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you. Bye.